the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, presented by WinBet. WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, Virginia, and Massachusetts. From boosted same game parlays to live in-game odds, WinBet has what you need to win. Bet $100, get $100. That's winbet.com, or download the WinBet app and start winning today. State restrictions apply. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really real, villain real, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. And it's been a great few days in the NBA for your boy. Got my guy Scott Studio Rush Show with me. Scott, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much. Looking forward to going through the Friday card. Everyone was distracted by college basketball yesterday, including me. So I wasn't fully invested in the NBA yesterday. Not exactly surprised by many of the results, though, besides the fact that the Pacers ended up beating the Bucks. But then you look at the foul trouble, and you saw that Giannis only played like 27 minutes, and he couldn't get on the floor. And then when he did, Miles Turner posterized him into oblivion. So it wasn't a great day for Giannis. But as a whole, I don't think anything really surprised me. Phoenix had a close game. The Kings won against the Nets. That did not surprise me at all. The Kings are just a good basketball team. The Nuggets won a game. It was against Detroit, but you got to start somewhere. Anything really surprise you?
That wasn't a good game. That wasn't a good game.
I was going to say, did anything really surprise you there? Because it seemed pretty straightforward. And the
No,
Nuggets were tied after 3. They just outscored the Pistons 33-14 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was it. It was like pure tank job by the Pistons. The Nuggets probably should have lost that game too. Like, we're being completely honest. The Nuggets are going through a dry spell right now. Like, ultimately, two of the teams that everybody was saying were the best teams in the league for a majority of the season, in the Denver Nuggets and the Boston Celtics, both are going through some struggles.
I'm trying to think of any other takeaways that I could really have from yesterday's games.
No,
I'm not going to read too much into Sacramento because the Nets, don't have a lot of offensive talent, and the Kings won another road game. How seriously should we be taking this team in the actual playoffs? Because it seems like there's increasing up. I'd say there's a growing chance that the Kings get the 2 seed.
Yeah.
Do you think that they can actually threaten anything in the playoffs, or no? Once again, they beat the Nets, so I'm not going to overreact to it. But I am curious because we keep waiting on the Kings to kind of slump, and they don't slump. They just keep winning, especially post-All-Star break.
I think that they have the same outlook that we have for the Dallas Mavericks, and basically a good offense, no defense in the playoffs. So we don't expect them to actually compete for a title, but they can, with the right matchup, they can beat a series. They can, outscore a team or two and, have a good playoff series, or maybe even get a series win. But ultimately, I think it's getting to the point, at least where we feel like they're the same thing as the Dallas Mavericks, where, all right, I mean, on paper, they look really, really good. And the Kings look a lot better because they have the record behind it, unlike the Mavericks. But here you are, two teams that don't play defense at all whatsoever. That's not going to survive.
Well, coaching also matters. And I think that a big issue that the Mavericks have, which has been stated a lot by SGP and Zona Cameron, Jason Kidd, not very good as a head coach. Can we say that?
I don't know. Because last year was really, really good. Last year was really, really good. So like, he has one good year, one bad year. I can't really I'm not going to say.
And I saw him with the Nets, wasn't impressed. Saw him with the Bucks. They won a title once they got rid of him, and now he's on Dallas. And I don't think.
Don't make it seem like as soon as they got rid of him, they won a title now.
No, I'm exaggerating. They got Drew Holiday. They got some pieces that helped out.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'll make it seem like as soon as he left,
it helped. But I'm just saying, Jason Kidd for me leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not a fan of him as a coach. Mike Brown I think he's obviously going to win Coach of the Year this year, based on how Sacramento continues to surge. Denver's fallen apart. Boston hasn't been great. He's kind of running unopposed. I haven't seen a sportsbook actually post those Coach of the Year odds. And if he's anything below like minus 600, you can probably sell your house on it, to be honest. Like, I don't know how he's supposed to lose the award at this point because he has the narrative and the Kings are fighting for a 2 seed. I think that's just raps. But still, I agree with you that Sacramento probably is not going to win the
fact that his competitor was walked across half court trying to get a timeout in the game the other day, not realizing what he was doing.
Doesn't help. But the point is, I don't think he has any competitors right now. But I think the Kings are good enough to win at least a series, but I'm bringing it up because you look at the teams that they might play against in the first round, the teams that are currently kind of on the bubble there for the play-in tournament. They might play Golden State in round one. In theory, they could play the Lakers, they could play the Pelicans, they could play a couple other teams. If you saw any of those teams against the Kings, based on where the standings are at right now, how many of those teams would you actually pick the Kings to beat in the first round? Because I feel like a lot of people automatically just disregard them because of the lack of experience and the fact they don't play defense. But there's a lot of really flawed teams in the NBA, especially at the bottom of the Western Conference or the play-in area. And LeBron, according to reports, is not close to coming back, so he might be done for the year. Are you picking the Kings to beat each of those teams? Because I'm assuming you'd pick Golden State to find a way, for example.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I in Minnesota. I think they can beat Minnesota.
Okay. But let's just say that they have New Orleans. We'll go with and without Zion. We'll start off without
I
Zion.
can't even see. Yeah. See, New Orleans. I guess New Orleans technically. I was looking at the standings, and I guess they're technically still are in it. They're only a half game back from the 10 seed, so they are technically still in it. But with Zion, nah, I'm still. No, all right, we're still going Kings. Both
Okay.
with and without Zion, still going Kings.
What about the Lakers and no LeBron?
No LeBron.
LeBron, according to reports recently, he's not close.
Yeah, but they still got a month.
I know they have a month, but I'm saying I don't know. Once again, people always mention his age. It doesn't exactly help the recovery process.
Lakers play defense though. I just can't wrap around my mind that they would be in the playoffs and LeBron would not play. So
I'm just saying I think it's more likely than people think. It's not approaching Zion territory where you keep having some expectations of a return date
mm,
and it keeps getting pushed back. But I'm a bit skeptical on when LeBron's actually going to play again. I'm just throwing that out there. He might come back mid-playoff series. He might miss the play-in tournament. Who knows? But
I was about
when
to
I
say
hear
I
the
could see
words
him miss.
not
Yeah,
close, that's rough.
I could see him miss a. I don't know. They got a month. They had a month left.
I'm just saying there's a
So with
possibility that happens.
LeBron, I'm still going. I'm going Lakers, just because of the defense. I
Okay.
might still go. Lakers have been playing a lot better recently. I might still go Lakers just because of the defense, even without LeBron. Anthony Davis can get them one series against the Kings.
The point I'm trying to make is that the Kings will be the 2 seed, but there's a lot of interesting teams in the play-in who maybe could sneak up on a team. And I feel like a lot of people would just pick a play-in team to give Sacramento a run for its money. And I'm not going to become just a pure mindless follower of the stats, but I got to at least point out the clutch offensive numbers for Sacramento. It's ridiculous compared to the rest of the league. They're the most clutch offense in the fourth quarter in the entire league by a country mile. I don't think it's as big of a disparity as Phoenix was last year to the rest of the league, where Phoenix was at historic, just all-time numbers in the fourth quarter. Sacramento's kind of close, and Fox is probably our pick for clutch player of the year. We just saw the game-winning shot against Chicago earlier this week. When a team can do that much offensively in the fourth quarter, when the game slows down and they still can dominate and get whatever they want, they're really, really dangerous. I'm not saying that I'm picking them to beat the Suns with Durant. I probably wouldn't pick them against a couple other teams. But I got to keep in mind that Sacramento late in games, I think they're less likely to fold than a lot of other teams in the Western Conference.
I'm just interested to hear you say this because you were the number one that said that Dallas' lack of defense wasn't going to propel them at all in the playoffs, and yet here you are singing the praises of Sacramento, who
I mentioned
arguably
the
is worse
coaching
than them.
differential. I mentioned the coaching disparity between Dallas and Sacramento, but it's also based on chemistry. You throw Kyrie and Luka together. They've barely played up to this point because Kyrie missed some time. Luka's missed most of the time. I feel like I also don't think that Dallas has any bench whatsoever. Like, I think Dallas has really just a bad roster. Sacramento has some pieces. I'm not going to suddenly join the Trey Lyles bandwagon, but he's been a decent bench contributor, for example. They have some options. I think that they have a certain amount of depth that Dallas doesn't have, and that's why I kind of separate Dallas from Sacramento. They have a similar flaw. They're looking at a team that doesn't really guard well, and they're trying to outscore opponents. But I think you'd agree that when it comes down to a roster makeup, Dallas is extremely flawed. It's extremely top heavy. And Sacramento, Malik Monk's coming off the bench. They still have Herter as a good supporting cast shooter. I like their overall team. I think that they are like 8 deep, or like maybe you can argue 9 deep if you want to stretch it. What is Dallas realistically? Like 7 deep, 6 deep? I feel like most people don't like half their team.
I
And,
mean,
and Jason Kidd never plays Christian Wood.
I think Dallas has. I think they're about the same. I honestly think they're about the same when I look at the depth pieces and you look at what Hardy's doing. Hardy's definitely going to get more minutes into the playoffs.
He should, but I
Yeah,
think when Kyrie comes back, I don't think Hardy's going to get much run.
but and then you have and then you just I think all of it is predicated, and they're just the fact that the Kings are predicated against team basketball, and the Mavericks are predicated on Luca.
Isolation.
Yeah, isolation, Luca, and then everybody just make sure you hit your shots when the ball comes to you, and that's really it. And so,
That also
I
might be a reason why, because
but
that
I just can't.
isolation ball hasn't exactly worked that well, historically speaking, in the playoffs. It works on
Yeah,
occasion, but
yeah, and it worked last year, and like there could be an occasion that it works this year. It's just my only thing is that when I'm looking and where I can't get at with the Kings team, and what just keeps is just the fact that I know they can give up 120 points any given night, and if you're giving up
yeah.
120 points in the playoffs, it's not just because you can score in the regular season don't mean you can score in the playoffs. Like that is just pure it. And so it doesn't matter what your fourth quarter numbers look like if you're down 25 plus points going into the fourth quarter. So that's my only thing. They have to Mike Brown has to find some type of way to rally them on the defensive side of the ball where they can play effectively better. Because in the playoffs, a lot of these other teams, if you let them, they will score on you and they will score in bunches.
Yeah, I feel like I just had to bring it up because, on one hand, I watched the game as a Nets fan, and I saw the Nets only score 96 points against the Kings. Now, it could be because the Nets' offense isn't very good, and that's definitely a possibility. But I saw the Kings actually do some decent things defensively, and it's kind of why I was kind of wondering if this team could maybe find a gear to become mediocre defensively. I'm going to try to keep it realistic. I'm not going to say this team's going to suddenly become a top 5 defensive unit, but if they became, let's just say, 15th in terms of just defensive rating down the stretch. Is that good enough for them to make a somewhat respectable run if the offense continues to play this well? Like,
It
how
is.
good does the defense need to be for them to potentially make a decent run if the offense continues to play the way that it's played?
It is. They can 100% if they're middle of the pack, they can win a series. They can 100% win a series if they're middle of the pack. But
It's easier said than done.
yeah, it
But
really is. And when you're towards the bottom of the league with the Rockets, the Spurs, all these other teams in defensive categories since All-Star break, how am I supposed to realistically say you're going to get there?
yeah, I get it. I'm not picking them to win the West, but I just feel like when it comes down to my last point, when it comes down to thinking about previous 2 seeds or 1 seeds in conferences in the tournament in the playoffs, I feel like the Kings might be like the most ignored 2 seed that I could possibly remember. Nobody's taking them seriously at all, and I can't really think of a comparison. Besides maybe Utah when they used to always have Mitchell and
I
Gobert
was
and
literally just about to say Utah.
I would say Utah. Like, is that the best comparison you can make there?
Yeah,
Kinda.
think so.
Just saying, Kings for a 2 seed have been just completely ignored by most of the. I feel like most basketball fans at this point. Like, oh yeah, cool story, little like tap on the head, and they just move on.
All
You know what I mean?
right. Before we get into the slate, got to talk to you about our official sponsor, the Sportsbook Win Bet, because they are now active in Massachusetts, along with a whole bunch of other states. You have the Win Bet Win Hour from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, each and every Thursday, where you can get better payout of the marquee games of the week. You have March Madness, where you can bet that all throughout WinBet. And if you sign up today, you can receive a special offer: bet $100, get $100, limited to state availability. And of course, you have the DGen Long Shot Parlay of the Week, where if you hit the longest parlay of the week, you can get $1,000 free credit. So much choose from. All you have to do is head over to winbet.com or download the WinBet app. Offer subject change terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 older and present in state where play through WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, let's get into the NBA slate for today. We have the Philadelphia 76ers on the road going to play the Charlotte Hornets in Charlotte, North Carolina. Line is sitting at 10.5. Open up at 10, now at 10.5. 227.5 is the total. That's come up a point. and injury report for these two teams. You have for the Philadelphia 76ers, Jalen McDaniels is questionable with a hip injury, and the Charlotte Hornets, Cody Martin is out, Bryce McGowan is out, Mark Williams and LaMelo Ball are both still on IR. So, Scott, you are laying 10.5 with the Philadelphia 76ers against the Charlotte Hornets.
So I feel like I kind of have to do it, even though I don't feel great about laying this many points on the road. But you're looking at Charlotte, and we know this team doesn't guard anybody at all. And now they're missing McDaniels. Actually, no, sorry, McDaniels on Philly, so my bad.
Mm-hmm.
But they still don't guard anybody. You're looking at Charlotte. And McDaniels, he's a good defensive player, but Philly still, I think they can get a good enough defensive effort against the likes of Rozier and Oubre, who just chuck up a bunch of shots. I'm going to go with Philly here. You're looking at Embiid's numbers against Charlotte recently, and he's just going to walk into about 35. Last game, they played one time this year. He scored 53 points. Now, he attempted 32 shots, which is kind of crazy, but he had 53 points and 12 rebounds. But you're going through these numbers, 53 and 12, 29 and 14, 31 and 6, 32 and 8, 43 and 15, 34 and 11. I just feel like he's going to destroy this team, and we know that Charlotte has no centers whatsoever. And Mark Williams, you mentioned on the injury report.
Hey, don't disrespect Nick Richards.
I was about to say, besides Nick Richards.
No, that's our God, Nick Richards.
You're cutting me off. I was about to say, besides Nick Richards.
All right, my bad. That was. I'm sorry.
I was about to say they have no good big men besides Richards, and you interrupted me in the middle. But even Richards, he's by himself out there because you mentioned Mark Williams on the injury report. So if he gets into foul trouble, which I feel like every opposing center does when they're against Embiid, what is Charlotte supposed to do? How are they supposed to stop Philly in this game? I got to lean to Philly, or at least Philly team total over. I just see a situation where you're going to see a lot of really ugly pick and roll defensive sets from Charlotte. Embiid could walk into 40. Maybe you see Maxey and company get going. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Philly here. I really like how this team's played. They see a shot at the 1 seed, and they also have a realistic shot to win the division. I think they're going to be motivated for this game, and I think they're going to be able to come out and win comfortably. It might sound ugly because it's a road favorite of double digits, but I think I'm going to go with Philly. I like how this team's played, and Charlotte, not so much. It is a lot of points on the road, though.
It is. And here's the thing. Charlotte hasn't been the worst defensively over the past 5 games. I mean, you look at they're right there. They're literally right there with Philly in opponents' points per game. Philly 111.6, Charlotte 112.2. That's good for 7th and 8th in the NBA. Charlotte's been good defending the 3. And what's that? 32% for Charlotte Hornets defending the 3 ball, 34.7% for the 76ers. That's 4th and 8th in the NBA. And opponents' field goal percentage. They're holding teams to a low field goal percentage, 46.1% for Charlotte Hornets. That's 6th in the NBA. You got to go all the way down to 17 to get to the Philadelphia 76ers in that same category. I mean, if Charlotte, wait, Joel Embiid's going to get his. And I think we all agree Joel Embiid's going to get his.
I'm going to bet a 40 piece in this game. I feel like I kind of have to.
Yeah, but if everybody else can hold serve and they can hold serve against everybody else, Charlotte is in this game, and they're in this game rather easily because we all know what Charlotte can do when they're shooting the basketball well, especially at home when they're shooting the basketball well with Terry Rozier, with Kelly Oubre Jr., and how Gordon Hayward has somehow always been the most, consistent thing for this offense. And I just can't help but get behind a Charlotte get-up game the day after Michael Jordan says that he's seriously considering selling the team, when a lot of people in the area have blamed Michael Jordan for the struggles of this team. I'm going to say Charlotte.
I was going to say, do you think that MJ selling the team has any impact at all on how the team plays today? I don't really see the connection.
I just knowing from the area, if you listen to local radio, you listen to the fans in the area talking everything. This has been a while that people have said they felt like MJ was the problem, and they felt like MJ had a role in why Charlotte was never going into the next level. So this is something actually big for people local to the Charlotte area, that MJ is considering selling the team because it feels like it's a brand new, fresh start for the Charlotte Hornets.
For me, I think at the end of the day, you're going to see. I'm trying to think of what's even really going to change. Do I think Jordan's a good owner? No, I don't think he's done really much for Charlotte. But once again, you have a lot of issues in sports when it comes to big market versus small market situations. Why would anybody? I know that you have Duke and Carolina, and there's a rivalry there in college. Do you think real superstars would ever actually want to go play for the Hornets?
No,
Is that an ownership
I
problem?
think
Now, this
that
team isn't a good drafting team, but still, like, how many guys are they actually going to attract in free agency?
And that's where I think it has to be. I think it has to be through the draft. And I think everybody, around Charlotte Hornets organization understands it has to be through the draft. But you need brand new, fresh ideas coming into the organization. This feels like the fresh start that they need. And this just seems like a random get up game. I'm not laying double digits. Give me the Charlotte Hornets plus 10.5.
Once again, I'm not going to have any money on the side. I'm going to lean to Philly, but you better believe I'm going to bet Embiid points.
All right. And total sitting at 227.5. What are you doing?
I think I have to lean to the over because I just mentioned how I think Philly could score 120 by themselves. So I think I'm going to lean to the over. I don't really feel great about this game at all, but I'll lean over. You're looking at the two meetings. First meeting landed 208. Second meeting landed 244, with Philly scoring 131 in the second meeting. I see something similar, more similar to the second meeting. Give me Philly scoring like 125. I think that's enough to send this over. I'll take the over.
I don't know. It hasn't translated to points though. Charlotte's been better defensive, but it hasn't you given up still 103. That's good, but then you had the 119, 114, 120 to Cleveland. Slight lean to the over. Very, very slight lean to the over. Not enough for me to bet it.
Fair enough.
All right. You said Embiid. Anything else you like prop wise?
You blindly pivot to just Harden assists over if you think Embiid's going to go for 40, because you're assuming it's just going to be endless pick and roll spam.
Yeah, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of nervous on the scoring because I think it can be Embiid, a lot of Embiid and less of everybody else. So it's like, how many is he really going to get 10 assists off of Embiid alone? I don't think so. So maybe I'm not on Harden's assists today just because of that.
Are you leaning to Harden under in points because Embiid might attempt 30 shots?
Yeah, I think that's something that I feel more comfortable with. Harden under on points, just saying that the game slows down a lot for Embiid and he's able to get going. And like I said, Charlotte's been forcing teams to struggle shooting from the field. I think the only other thing on Philly that I'm probably cool taking a chance on is, come on, Jalen McDaniels back in Charlotte. I mean, if he plays,
I was going to say he might not play. That's the problem.
yeah, if he plays, I might have to go look his way. But I'm on the Charlotte side of the basketball, and when I'm looking at prop wise, and I'm going back to old reliable Gordon Hayward just to go out there, have a good game, facilitating the ball. His assist total is at 4.5. 4.5 at minus 130. Philadelphia is giving up. What did it say? Where do I have them at? Well, they really haven't. Never mind. That must have been something else. But 22 assists per game. That's actually pretty good towards the bottom of the league. But I'm still rocking with Gordon Hayward today. I don't care. 4.5 and a game that I think that they can score a bunch of points and keep Philly on their toes. Be in this game. I like Gordon Hayward assist, and I feel like we gotta like Nick Richards.
I like him a lot as a player. The problem is I'm worried about foul trouble.
Yeah.
Unless the argument is Charlotte has no backup centers anyway, so they're just going to tell Richards you're playing 30 minutes no matter what. Just try to hang
Joel Embiid is so unserious. Oh yeah, Philly has a game tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'm definitely not laying double digits with Philly, and they have a game tomorrow. You don't lay double digits on the first half of back to back. That's if there's a commandment, that's a commandment. Yeah, no.
Is that actually a thing? I've never heard.
Yeah,
that
no, it's actually a thing. I was talking with my guy who put me onto that. I think it was Ski. Yeah, Ski put me onto that and was telling me that typically don't lay points with teams, double-digit points with teams on a back-to-back, first game of back-to-back. So I don't
I
know
did not know
that
that was a thing, but
remember.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. But back to what I was saying about Nick Richards' rebounds, and that Joel Embiid is just so unserious rebounding the ball. Like he is very, very
Oh,
unserious
he's so
rebounding the
bad
ball.
at rebounding the ball. He doesn't care half the time.
Yeah, and it's because he either is going for the shot, so he's not in a position to get the rebound, or on the defensive end, he just really doesn't care. And so I'm not gonna lie, his under 11 and a half rebounds is very, very tempting. But you can also flip that another way and just play Nick Richards to get the rebounds that he doesn't get, because I don't see a Richards prop anywhere.
By the way, just to read off the Embiid rebounds recently, he did have 18 rebounds against Cleveland. Uh, but you're looking at the games before that: 8 against Washington, 7 against Portland, 7 against Minnesota, 5 against Indiana, 6 against Milwaukee, 8 against Dallas.
Yeah, he's unserious, and it's at 11 and a half. I
When
think
he
that is
tries to be
such.
serious for rebounding, he'll grab you 15. But that happens maybe what, 2 times a month?
Yeah, I am 100% for Fate and Joel Embiid on the boards after an 18 rebound game. Like he is not serious about rebounding the basketball at all. All right. Let's move on to the next game of slate. We have the Washington Wizards going to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in Cleveland. Cleveland's laying 5.5 at home. 221 is the total injury report for these two teams. And we have for the Washington Wizards, Kyle Kuzma is not on the injury report with that knee injury. So it doesn't look like he's going to have any restrictions playing in this game with the sore knee and foot tonight. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jared Allen is still out with that eye injury. So you'll see Lamar Stevens into the starting lineup in place of Jared Allen, who's actually Lamar Stevens been doing pretty
Like I said,
good.
I
He's
actually
been
kind of
able,
like Stevens.
yeah, he's been playing really, really well. And the fact that I don't know what connection there is between Lamar Stevens and Karis LeVert, but Karis LeVert always makes a high basketball IQ play when Lamar Stevens is open in the corner, and I'm here for it. All right, laying 5.5 with the Cavs.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Cavs are still really good at home, 28-8 straight up at home. Washington 16-20 on the road. You're looking at Washington's last couple of games, though. They've really not been good. And to go through their recent games here, they have lost 5 of their last 7. The problem is the only 2 wins were against Detroit, which might not even count. So they've been really, really bad. And the Cavs, I think that they're still a solid team. I'm not viewing them as a title contender, realistically, but I think they're definitely good enough to beat up on Washington at home when they're 28-8 in the land. But they're played against Philly. They ended up losing a game there. I think it's a pretty good spot for them to get back on track against a weaker opponent. You're looking at the 2 meetings this season. Cleveland won by 10, and they played again in Washington in February, and Cleveland won that one by 23 on the road. I'm going to go with Cleveland here. This number just feels a bit too short with a team that's 28-8 straight up at home. I'm going to go with the Cavs.
All right.
You?
I'm on the Cavs as well. I mean,
This really does feel short, doesn't it? Like it feels like it should be 7 or 7.5, maybe.
yeah, I'm not really, and maybe there's I can't think of it not being, well, I mean, Jared Allen, I do feel like Jared Allen is worth a point. I do actually feel like Jared Allen, defensively, what he can add, he is worth a point. But still, it just feels very, very short. And I'm kind of wondering maybe is it because Bradley Beal's been having some good games recently and people are back on the Bradley Beal train? And they're just assuming that, hey, if Bradley Beal has a good game, he can be like Dame Lillard and keep them in this game. And I just truly don't see it. I think that this is a smash spot for the Cavs here at home, where they've
Awful
done
loss,
their,
as I said too. It's a good
yeah,
spot just emotionally to get back on track.
yeah. So awful loss, a home loss. And then again, we can talk about the home numbers. Get 28-8 straight up at home over the course of the season. And that's including a loss in the last game. And if you talk about them as a favorite, oh man, 41-16 as a favorite this season, straight up 32-23-2 ATS as a favorite this season, 22-13-1 at home. Yeah, I picked against them, and shout out to me, I picked the 76ers last go around. I think this is a smash spot for the Cavs. This is locked territory, honestly.
Well,
And
because with Allen being out, you knew Embiid was going to do whatever he wanted in the middle because Mobley's too skinny to stop him.
mhm.
Washington doesn't have that because Porzingis is their 7-footer, but he shoots jumpers most of the time.
Yeah, he's gonna. If anything, he's gonna be trying to pull, some. And it depends how. I'm interested to see how Cleveland guards him this go around.
But that's
But
why I actually think Cleveland has a
they're gonna pull
decent.
somebody out the paint.
I think Cleveland's got a decent defensive matchup here with Allen being out because you have Stevens and you have Mobley, and they're both very mobile. They can get out there and switch on every pick and roll without having to compromise much.
Yeah, yeah. This is all systems go for Cleveland. Cleveland minus 5.5. All right. Total sitting at 221. I mean, this is just a smash under for me. I think everybody's giving Washington a little bit too much credit offensively. This feels like a high total for a Cleveland at home game. 221. We're normally in the two teens for Cleveland at home.
I'm on the under anyway because I just said I think Cleveland's defense is actually going to have a very good game plan for Washington. So I'm going to go with the under. I think Washington, unless they shoot the lights from the outside, I really don't see many opportunities for Washington to generate a lot of consistent offense. Beal can always do Beal things, and you have to live with it. But I'm going to lean to the under. I just think you'll see a good defensive effort. Cleveland, in the two meetings, gave up 91 in the last meeting on the road and gave up 107, but that game went to overtime. So both games have kind of just flown towards the under, and Washington scored less than 104 in regulation each of the first two meetings. I'm going to go with the under.
Yeah, Cleveland last 5 games giving up 109.8 points per game. That is first in the NBA, tied with the Boston Celtics, which is crazy. They're 3-2 in their last 5. Okay, not as bad as I thought. And for the Washington Wizards, ninth in the NBA, 112.4 points per game. So yeah, it just seems both teams playing good defensively. Some regression on the offensive end from Washington is expected. I think this is a pretty good spot for an under. All right, next game. Oh well, no, we got any props? Any props for this one?
So, what's your thoughts on Mobley rebounds? Because he should have a lot of opportunities, but we know that Mobley isn't exactly. It's not the same as Embiid, where he doesn't care that much about rebounding, but it feels that way sometimes. You know what I mean? Like you want Mobley to be a little bit more assertive on the glass, especially with Allen not being there, and he does sometimes, but not really enough. You have any
I don't
thoughts on
think it's
Mobley
his fault
rebounds?
though. I don't think it's his fault though. I think it's because he's active on the
Yeah, he
defensive end,
switches on to
shot
everybody.
blocking.
So
Yeah, shot blocking, switching, all of this other stuff that he's just not in position to get a lot of the rebounds. But he actually, you know, is pretty. He's still been doing pretty solid. Like over the course of the season, I know it's 8.9. You kind of want to see that a little bit more, but there was a stretch there where he had a double stretch going on. He had 12 in the last game. I just think that it's a little more variance in Mobley's rebounds than Embiid. Embiid, I can just pencil Embiid in for an under, and I feel pretty comfortable with that any given night. But I don't know if I want to go there with Evan Mobley just yet, especially because Evan Mobley's not getting the bump that Embiid is. Embiid's at like 10.5 every single night, and Mobley's typically what 8.5. Sometimes when he's hot, he gets to nine and a
it's
half.
been boosted a little bit with Allen being out, but I'm kind of just curious.
Yeah, I no, I'm not gonna fade Mobley on the boards.
I wasn't saying actively fading. I was kind of just wondering if you thought it was a decent spot for maybe an over for Mobley, but I think I'm
No,
gonna have to
yeah, I
stay
think
away.
it. I don't.
It
I
wasn't
think
about
that he's
fading. I was just
always.
wondering if you
Yeah,
trust him enough to go over.
yeah. I think he's always. I think he always has a chance. I think he always has a chance. It's just how active is he defensively this game? Like because if
Mhm.
and especially against teams that are doing a lot of drives, a lot of points in the paint. He's going to be very active in shot blocking and making sure that those guys are not getting easy looks at the basket, and that kind of takes away from his rebound opportunities. Like, what's my boy in Memphis, Triple J? Like he does not do good rebounding because he's actively punting every single
Mhm.
shot in the paint into the third row, and so yeah, no, I could be talked into Evan Mobley rebounds. I could.
Do you have any props you like?
I'm still on Evan Mobley points though.
Okay.
I'm not coming off of that train anytime soon. I think that they feature him enough where he always has the opportunity to go out there and score. And I think I could sell myself on Kyle Kuzma having a really good day today too.
Threes or just points or rebounds? Anything in particular?
Hmm.
Saying with Kuzma, you got a lot of options.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of different options that you can take with him. I think you can really look in all that direction. I think for me, I'm going just overall points. I would do Kyle Kuzma overall points if I was looking at, but I gotta wait and see and just I want to. He's somebody that I want to hear about pregame, and I just want to hear some good news pregame that he still looks really good. Like I don't want it to be anything where he comes into the game, he re-aggravates an injury, and then the under was the way to go the whole time because he played 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I just want to hear more good news about Kyle Kuzma. But other than that, I think that he does have because I think that there's going to be a lot of attention on Kristaps Porzingis, especially by Evan Mobley, just to make sure that he keeps him at bay and doesn't let him get going. Because if Kristaps Porzingis has a really, really good game, then I think that they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Are you going to potentially make a case for Porzingis threes, or no?
Not this time. Not this
Okay.
time, just because I think that if he even if he stretches, I think that, like you said, there's a lot of people that can still guard him out the perimeter. It's not like you're facing a regular big who's a lot slower outside on the perimeter, is not going to be able to keep up or not be willing to keep up. Evan Mobley doesn't have a problem leaving the paint and going to guard the perimeter, but a lot of bigs will try to hang around the paint, looking at the ball, and then a pass comes and they're late getting over, and Porzingis is already,
Mhm.
how tall he is, the ball's already up in the air. And so not today, not today. Are we on a Gafford under though?
I thought about it, but his numbers against Cleveland historically are actually not that bad. So I thought about maybe staying away from that one. I think it's just going to come down to foul trouble at the end of the day. And I am wondering if Washington's going to try to, I don't want to say use him more, but since they only have Mobley now as the center, maybe Gafford can get some offensive rebounds and some putbacks.
Hmm.
I think I'm staying away from that one because historically speaking, he's actually had some success against Cleveland.
All right.
But I thought about it.
Before we get to the next game of slate, got to talk to you about Shady Rays, the newest sponsor of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And guess what? My guy Andrew Robb has just been in the chat plugging away, telling me, yo, you need to get you a pair of these Shady Rays. They are absolutely great. They have sunglasses from all different styles and classes, and even snow goggles. Like if you like snowing, they have the snow visor things, whatever the frick they're called. They're super duper cool. And so, did I say you like snowing? No, you like skiing. That's what it is. It's not snowing, it's skiing. Because what would snowing be? Whoever, who knows? Either way, we're talking about Shady Rays here, where look, if you lose or break a pair, or even on day one, they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence. And go to shadyrays.com. Use promo code SGPN for 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. Look, try it for yourself because they're rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. That's shadyrays.com, promo code SGPN. All right, next game on the slate, we have the Golden State Warriors on the road going to play the Atlanta Hawks. Hawks -4. This opened up as a pick. Line grew all the way to 4. 248 is the total. That's up 2.5 points from
I was going to ask, is this the
246 and
highest
a half.
total? Is this the highest total of the
Yes,
season?
has to be. I don't think we've seen a 249. I now the games that come to mind are the Lakers and the Kings games earlier in this season. I was trying to figure this out earlier, and I don't think we've gotten higher. I don't think we've seen 249. So I think this is tied for that one of those Lakers Kings game where we saw a 248 total. I was definitely looking at this earlier, but yes, it is if it gets to 249, I know for a fact we haven't seen one of those. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen one of those. All right. Injury report for these two teams, and we have for the Golden State Warriors, it looks like, well, Andrew Wiggins is still out for personal reasons, so you're not going to see him for the foreseeable future, and what it sounds like potentially could be the rest of the year. So, hope, and if you heard what the rumors is what going on there, really, really serious situation where I understand why he wouldn't want to be thinking about basketball right now. However,
I, I'm
Steph
I'm
is
not. I'm gonna wait and see the rumor stuff. I'll wait to see if anything gets flushed out personally.
Yeah, that because that's like that
That's a
just sounds
lot.
insane.
That's a
It just
lot.
sounds insane. I don't even want to repeat it. That's why I'm like, that just sounds insane.
That's a
I'm gonna
lot.
just
That's the point. Besides, you don't know, all these rumors start the same way. Somebody says something,
but
and no matter what, it catches fire. Like I'm
what I
gonna
will
wait and
say
see how
is
everything works out.
what I will say is Who just wakes up and just thinks to randomly make up a rumor about Andrew Wiggins?
To be fair,
That's all I'm saying.
nobody's known why he's been away for like 2 months. So at some point, if you hear anything, the public's going
Yeah,
to eat it
it's
alive.
yeah, you can eat it alive. I get it. I get it. All right. Steph Curry expected to play. You have Draymond Green, who is
Is he
out with
is
the
he expected to
suspension.
play? I see
Yeah, he
Curry's
is.
questionable.
No, I see expected to play.
I see questionable, which explains why the line's moved. I see that his thumb is bothering him and he might not
Oh,
play.
I thought the line moved because everybody just hammered Atlanta at a pick with the
No, it
Warriors on the
was like
road.
1 or 2 about an hour ago, and now it's at 4. According to some reports, says Curry's questionable.
Okay, maybe that might be a newer update then. All right. And Kevon Looney's probable with the back injury. You have Ty Jerome, who's available. Anthony Lamb, who got a contract for the rest of the season. He's going to be playing in the playoffs. He's available. And yeah, that's about it. Everybody else, Andre Iguodala is having surgery. He's done for the year. Not like he did anything. Gary Payton, don't know what's going on with him. And for the Atlanta Hawks, Jalen Johnson is probable. Haven't heard that name in a long time. All
Is
right.
that because you don't track him or because you don't think he's very good?
I just think nobody says, and I just haven't heard anybody even say anything about him. Uh, has he even been playing?
Just saying, you mentioned Jalen Johnson like you were excited he was going to play. I feel like
I
most
know,
people
no,
probably
I'm not.
forgot that he
I
was
was
even on the
excited
roster.
because of the fact that I heard his name. Like, it's
Oh,
some people after you go through a season, it's names that are in the injury report that are regular, regulars. But I don't think I've said Jalen Johnson's name all season. All right, Atlanta -4.
so Munaf in the comment section is talking about how Kerr said he expects Curry to play. That still doesn't really account for why the line has moved this much if Curry's going to
I'm
play
telling you,
anyway.
everybody hammered Atlanta because it's the Warriors on the road.
I liked Atlanta anyway on the overnight, but with Curry being up in the air, I'm not sure about. First of all, first play I'm going to mention, it's going to sound a bit, I can't even say bold. I got to lean to the under. I know that the Warriors just had a massively high scoring game against the Clippers. 247 and a half. Like, really? I think I have to lean under there. That total just sounds way too high. We always
Mm,
talk about having one bad
mm,
quarter, and it might get
mm,
there. I think it's going to get close, but I think it'll probably
mm.
finish in the low 2-4. I can't take an over there. I just can't. Some numbers, you pass the point of no return, and this isn't Westbrook with the Wizards where every game landed in the 260s. I'm going to lean under. I think you'll see one quarter potentially cause the pace to collapse. And I think you'll probably see Atlanta look good offensively. Golden State, do you want to make a case? Because I feel like 4 at this point is tempting if I knew Curry was going to play, but this team is so bad on the road, but you miss so many points of line value or line movement if you just take the Hawks now. I'm kind of up in the air on this one, but I'll lean to the under. 248. It's like the highest total of the season. I think I have to lean to the under.
Well, I'll just go ahead and start at total since you opened up Pandora's box.
I'm assuming you're leaning to
And
the over.
yes, because we're looking at okay, let me make sure I have this right. So 1, 2, 2 and 1, 5-1, the last 6 home games for the Atlanta Hawks going to the over. And honestly, like majority of those games are pretty much going over this same number.
I could
Like
be
if you
dead
look at
wrong.
it,
It's just on principle for me. I'm not going to bet a total of 248 and just slam the over.
one thirty.
And Curry might not play. I can't do it at this point.
136, 119 Cleveland. That goes over this number. You have a 129, 127 against the Nets at home. That goes over this number. Washington 119, 116. That doesn't go over this number, even though that went over the total in that game. And then what's that? 129 to 111. That doesn't get there. That's the lone under game was against Portland 129, 111. That finished at 240. And then you come back they go on a road trip, come back, Boston 134, 125. That goes over this number. 136, 115. That goes over this number. I mean, I don't it's a high number, but it's Atlanta, and Atlanta sucks defensively. Like they're not good. And you take away Draymond Green for the Golden State Warriors, where he is anchoring them defensively. So now you're trusting a Warriors team that's already bad on the road, already struggles to play any type of defense on the road. They are 25-8-1 to the over this season on the road. I get that it's a high total. And yes, if this total was a couple of points less, it feels like it's a no-brainer over. So why am I changing it now when the times that they go over, they've been over? Like, no, I'm
I
going over.
really
I'm
liked
going
the
over.
over yesterday before I knew what the line was going to be. Then I was a little bit iffy. But now Curry's on the injury
Don't
report
be
and he might
scared.
not play.
Don't be scared. No, this is people are. I'm not scared over. Give me over 248. I'm actually gonna lock that up over
I
248.
would feel a lot better taking the over when it's this high if I had 100% certainty that Curry was going to play. So maybe at like 6 o'clock in the
But
evening
even but
or
that's the
8 o'clock.
thing. But that is the thing. If Steph doesn't play, oh wow, you get more Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson minutes and more
No, that's not
Jalen
my
Poole and Klay
point. My
Thompson
point is if
shots.
Curry doesn't play, this total's going to drop like crazy, and I'd rather just take a better number. That's my
Oh,
point.
I mean, either way, still, I'm
How
handicapping the
many points
number
is
at
Curry
where it's
worth to a
at.
total? Like 5, 6?
No, he's not worth that much.
You
No,
sure about
come on.
that? He had 50
No,
last
he's
game with 2 free throws.
yeah,
You sure he's
yeah,
not
but
worth
this is
6 points
still
to a total?
because you're taking Curry out and you're still giving shots to Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson. Like you're not dropping 5 points. I'm not dropping a total 5 points because Steph is not playing. And if you that's the ultimate either
I think
way,
I'll meet in the middle.
handicapping the 248 at 248, whether Steph plays or not, I am not afraid of it because the Atlanta Hawks have shown that they actually are not trying at all to play any defense whatsoever. And the Golden State Warriors have shown that they cannot get it together defensively on the road. And now you just took out their floor general that gets everybody where they're going defensively in any game. So it's just 1 + 1 = 2. It sounds like over.
I think I'm going to meet in the middle. I'm going to lean under right now until I know for certain if Curry's going to play or not. But I do think that I really like a bunch of player prop overs. I'm going to kind of meet in the middle there because once again, the game could still go under and each team still scores 120 points. So I feel like if you want to pivot to a Clay three-pointer game, maybe a pool game, if you want to talk about DeJounte hasn't exactly been great lately. I think Trey's going to have a pretty good game here. Historically, he's been good against Golden State. I think this total is high, obviously, for a good reason, but I'm going to wait to see about the Curry news. However, I do think it is a good time to pull the trigger on Clay because he can go over anyway. And if Curry does not play, Clay's going to get even more volume. I don't mind taking some alt lines on Clay.
I'm on Jordan Poole. I
Okay.
feel like that of the three, I'm getting the best line of Poole, and I'm probably getting it now with the fact that Curry is expected to play. I'm just gonna take you say expected to play, and I don't see why he would not play in this game. Like, look at where they're at. They need to get a win on the road. I'm not understanding at what point. Like, it's not that I think that the thumb is just precautionary, but there's no reason that everybody is not playing every single game that they can for the Warriors, especially with the fact that Draymond Green is out in this one. So yeah, I'm taking Jordan Poole today. I feel like I'm getting the best line of all of them, and everybody has the matchup in the fact of nobody on this Atlanta team is playing defense. You don't really have much to worry about interior wise because Clint Capella is just a big body just standing there. So yeah, my pick of the three, I'm going with Jordan Poole.
I am going to ask, though, since Draymond is out, let's assume Curry plays. Are you interested in a double-double? Because somebody's going to have to get assists.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested in Curry. I think this could be a Curry triple double game.
I'm just throwing it out there with Draymond being
You're
pretty
saying
good
you say
rebounder for his size and a facilitator. They run a lot of offensive sets through him. There are a lot of assists up for grabs, or even
it's really
rebounding.
his conditioning. It's his conditioning for me, and the fact that he can run around while he's on
Mm-hmm.
the court, he can run around the entire length of the court the whole time. And we've seen him get triple doubles off of just running around and being near the rim and picking up, the ball. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that Steph's rebounds is something that is intriguing to me. And that I'm like, hey, Kevon Looney is gonna have his hands full with Clint Capella. Like that's going to
If he
happen.
even plays.
Looney probable?
I think they said he was probable, but he's still technically on the injury report because he's got the back issue. So you can make an argument.
Nah, probable. I'm going ahead and counting you in the game. So yeah. And if he
But like,
doesn't, it helps the case even more. But
Curry double is plus 215.
yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it because I can see that happening I can see that happening in different ways, especially with how much he's moving around the court. As far as the side, Atlanta's just been too bad for me defensively. I probably would have took this at a pick, maybe up to 2, but now we're at 4. I could see this easily. Like I could see Golden State keeping up with Atlanta. Atlanta's not good at all. Like we talk about how bad Golden State is on the road. I get it, but at least like some of these road games, they actually are competitive. They just can't find ways to get a win. I'll take my chances with the 4 points.
I think I'm going to lean to Atlanta. I think I'm going to lean to Golden State now, assuming Curry plays. I liked Atlanta earlier, but once again, I've already missed like 3 or 4 points. But it seems like a good spot where everyone's expecting Golden State to get smacked because Draymond's out and they're bad on the road. But we always see teams step up when they're missing players, and Golden State, we've seen them
Hmm.
bench all their starters and they'll find ways to be competitive anyway. I wonder if Atlanta might be on the verge of potentially overlooking Golden State because it's not a full strength Golden State team. Do you think Golden State just comes out and
I mean, you
surprises
see
them?
7-26 on the road, and and
I
how
think it's
good you are
27.
Atlanta at home. Like I think that there's a good possibility that they're just overlooking them and thinking that hey, this Golden State team isn't that good on the road. We can compete with this team. We can go out there and have a good game with this team. And so, uh, let me see here. What was I think what I am going to how I will back Atlanta is I will back. Oh, well, they're not even.
What do you want to go with the team total? You want to go Trey
No,
points?
I think I'll go Atlanta first quarter. And Golden State historically hasn't been well on the road in the first quarter. 3 of 7 in the last 10 games on the road, whereas Atlanta 6-4. I would have liked to see that a little bit better, honestly, but 6-4 at home in the first quarter. So I think I'll take my chances with Atlanta winning the first quarter and then finding some way to, I don't even have to worry about the rest of the game. Just in and out with the money.
I'm on Trey points. This really is setting up for Trey to go for like 35. And he's
I
off a
actually
40.
like,
He had a 40 piece recently.
I actually like DeJounte. I think DeJounte has a good game
He's got to
because
have a good game at some point.
And it's the fact that, you take away Draymond and, some rim protection there. And I can just see a lot of slashes to the basket and DeJounte Murray, their quick pace, super quick pace, DeJounte Murray slash to the basket, getting easy twos, and just ended up running the score up. So 19.5, I'll take DeJounte Murray.
Trying to see if there's anything else that I like just based on
I say
historical
you
trends
just
here.
this is the stars. This just feels like
That's why I
Steph,
said Trey. I just think
Steph
Trey and Steph, assuming
Trey.
they're probably going to go at it.
Yeah, Steph Trey, DeJounte has a good game. I'm interested to see Bogdanovich.
Just signed an extension.
Yeah, he might go crazy.
I think I did
I
find
can't I
something
can't
I might like, but I
he's
got
coming
to
off the
check the
bench,
Trey.
so we could I can be talked into Bogdanovich having a really, really good game coming off the bench today. I really, really can see that.
Okay, if you want my long shot prop for the game, I'm going to take John Collins double double, which I
Okay.
see at around plus 625. To look at the
Really?
numbers recently, he has not been that good.
Really?
However, his numbers against Golden State have actually been good. In fact, Collins has had a double double in 3 of his last 4 games against Golden State. And we mentioned Looney's a bit banged up. We mentioned that Draymond's not going to play. If you want a long shot flyer prop with a bunch of quick possessions and a bunch of shots, I don't mind Collins double double at plus 625.
Yeah, I like that. I love
3 of the
that.
last 4 games, I think, is pretty tempting. And we know Capella is a good rebounder, and it didn't work for the Zubac game. I got killed on that rebounding prop, but you're taking Capella away from the basket, constant switches and pick and roll. Do I think Atlanta maybe tries to go smaller at some point in this game? I can see it.
I can get it's a lot of props that I can feel like I can get behind because I like that. That talks me into Kongwu coming off the bench too, who can have a really good game.
That's a good call. What's a Kongwood double double?
I mean, you can't. It's not going to be up because he's coming off
No.
the bench. You got to wait closer to
Occasionally
game
it is
time.
up. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind that maybe, Kongwu too. But
Yeah,
I think that there's a lot of potential double doubles here if you're expecting 120 points from each team.
yeah, and I mean, it can either way. You either get the double doubles off assists for the point guards and the ball handlers, or you get the double doubles off the rebounds because everybody kept missing. All right.
By the way, Collins to record 10 rebounds is 7-1.
Yeah, I feel like that's an auto bet. I feel like you got like
For the
against this
value, I
Warriors
mean,
team.
yeah, that sounds like a
Yeah,
good deal to me.
yeah. I
He's going
don't
to get there?
know.
Probably not. But once again, 3 of the last 4 head-to-head meetings he's gotten there.
I mean, it's you just look at matchup. You just look at somebody's got a rebound. Somebody's got a rebound. It's not going to be there's not going to be no rebounds in the game. Somebody's got a rebound. And if Looney and Capella are battling all night, if you're switching on Capella and getting Capella out of the paint, somebody's got to come up with it. So is it John Collins is the next viable option? I like
Yeah,
it.
Bobby, I get it. Collins hasn't had 10 rebounds in a while. I just mentioned that. But once again, I got to go by the matchup, at least in some spots. For a long shot flyer, throw it in like a ridiculous
I
lotto
mean,
parlay.
if he had 10 rebounds recently, then it wouldn't be 7-1. We wouldn't be giving out 7-1 bet if he was getting 10 rebounds a bunch of times. But you got to call your shot, and this is a really good shot
I'm
that I
trying to see
like.
if I can cut into it. Like, if I got 8 rebounds and it still was 3-1 or something like that. I mean, you don't have to go for the full 10. But I think if you want to make a case for a big man in a
Just
game of a
ladder it,
yeah. Well, then
ladder
again,
his
I don't know.
rebounds up.
I don't know if I want to fully ladder it because once again, I could just be dead wrong about the Collins pick. But
But then
Collins
if you're
eight
dead, but
re-
if you're dead wrong, it's like you just bet whatever you were gonna bet on his rebound, just put
yeah,
it in the ladder. And if you're
Collins eight
wrong, then you
rebounds though is plus 290. Like
hmm,
290. I mean, he's playing roughly 30 minutes a game. At least for the last 4 games, he's played roughly 30 minutes. He had 11 and 9 against Boston in 30 minutes. I mean, he's had some like a game or two on occasion, but once again, it's just a random like dart throw in this game.
yeah,
There's a lot of props I'm gonna like, and there's not many unders that I'm gonna take.
yeah. And this that nobody's not saying anything against Clint Capella. And I see JR
And
talking about
JR's
nobody's
mentioned
not
Capella,
saying
yeah.
yeah, nobody's saying anything against Clint Capella, but you look at 7-1 and you sit here and say, second best rebounder on the team, and we see a whole bunch of opportunities in this game. It's so easy for multiple people to have a double double in this game. So
I think the
why not take
Capella
a shot?
option's probably worth it too at plus 240. Once again, if you spam double doubles in this game, you might actually make a decent profit. Within
I think
reason, of
so.
course. Like you shouldn't take Klay Thompson double double, for example. Like keep it reasonable. But Capella 240,
Trey,
I probably like that too.
Steph, Capella, Collins, Murray. I think
Yeah.
if you have all of that, what was that, 5 players? I think you can see
If
even
you want to
2.
swap Murray out for maybe like a Looney, perhaps. I think
Yeah.
Looney's got a shot, but
Yeah,
whatever.
like you even 2, you're making profit. All right.
But
Let's see here. Before we get into the next game of the slate, we're going to slide over to part 2 for the podcast version. YouTube, sit tight, be back in a second. And for podcast, slide over to part 2. And we are back with the NBA Gambling Podcast, part 2, finishing out the slate of games for Friday, March 17th. Next game on the slate, we have the New Orleans Pelicans going to play the Houston Rockets in Houston. Pelicans are laying 5.5. 228 is the total. That total has dropped from 231.5 all the way to 228. Injury report for these two teams, and we have here for the New Orleans Pelicans, Jose Alvarado and Zion Williamson, are not playing currently. So pretty clean injury report for the Pelicans. CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram, Trey Murphy, Jonas Valanciunas. And for the Houston Rockets, you have a pretty clean injury report as well over there. So you can expect to see Şengün playing in this game. I know he's been missed a few games before returning. So he's definitely back again in this game. Jamar Smith Jr., KJ Martin, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr. All right. You have to either lay 5.5 or you have to bet the Houston Rockets.
yeah, I'm going Rockets money line. I feel like this spot, based on how Houston's played lately, I think that the spread is a bit absurd. I get the argument is regular season numbers. New Orleans is around 500, and Houston is 17 and 52. Houston did win the last 2 games against Boston and the Lakers, both at home, so there's no travel involved. You're looking at the Pelicans. This team is 11 and 23 on the road. This team's awful on the road, and we just saw them lose to the Lakers at home comfortably by 15. That game was, it was like a 30-point game in the second quarter. But I think you're going to end up seeing a competitive game. Houston isn't good, but they've been feisty lately. And I think as a result, this line's a little bit tall. Now, if New Orleans does win by margin, would I be shocked? No, because I'm talking about the Rockets. But based on recent form and the season numbers with home road splits, I'm not laying 5.5 with New Orleans on the road with Zion not in the lineup. I got to go with the Rockets here. To look at the Pelicans, by the way, on the road lately, 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, 1-5. They're 1-5 straight up in their last 6 road games. I'm not laying 5.5 there here. Give me the Rockets plus the points. I think they got a shot to win the game.
What's their points totals in those games?
For New Orleans, okay. Against the Kings, they only scored 108. Against the Warriors, they only scored 99. That's awful. Scored 121 against the Blazers in a win. Scored 106 against the Knicks. Scored 110 against the Raptors. Scored 102 against the Lakers. And they won a game against the Thunder, but they only scored 103 points.
So it just seems as they're getting your favorite by 5.5 points. So we have to bump your team total up. They're at 116.5 right now, and they've only gotten that once in, what'd you say, the last 7-8 games on the road?
I could have kept going. There's a couple more games in there, but yeah, it's not good. Now, the first 2 meetings this season, the Pelicans did win. Both games were at home. New Orleans scored exactly 119 points in each game, but you're looking at Houston's defense, 110 to the Lakers, 109 to Boston. It's been okay. It's been better lately, kind of. I can understand that case, but do you want to make a case for the Pelicans here? Because I can't lay 5.5 with an 11-23 team on the road. I just can't do it.
No, I'm good, and I'm not, you know, giving them that many points either. 1-6, they haven't gotten there. 116.5 under is at -105 right now. I feel like that's a really good look.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was, congratulating myself, patting myself on the back because I'm right now 2-0 and Rockets props, getting them on the money line in both that Celtics and Lakers game. Now, would you say that this is a little bit of a letdown because you go from playing the Celtics and the Lakers to the Pelicans? Possibly.
It could be, but when you look at the standings, then it's impossible to have a letdown spot because you're at the bottom. But I don't know. Like, you have a lot of young players who are trying to get minutes and trying to secure roster spots for the future. Can you have a letdown spot when you have 17 wins? The argument is the front office telling them to lose the game? That might be the letdown spot you're referring to. But yeah, I just feel like it's a spot where Houston maybe is building on momentum. I don't know if I want to call it a letdown since they have barely any wins this season. So any win, I feel like you're going to try to keep the momentum rolling. And you also saw Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. miss some time, and they're finally back in the lineup. I'm going to lean to Houston in this spot.
Yeah, I'm still on Houston plus 5.5. It's too many points. Too many points. New Orleans wins the game, but New Orleans wins by 2. Comes back in late fashion. All right. I assume we're both on the under because New Orleans can't score the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the under. I think if this game goes over, I just think New Orleans is probably going to win because I think that suggests that Houston's defense just doesn't show up in the game and New Orleans probably scores 120 points. But since we both agree that will not be the script in this game, I'm hoping for a similar thing that we saw against the Lakers and the Celtics, where the Rockets defense actually looks competent, dare I say it, and I think that's going to result in an under. So I'll lean to the under.
Yeah. All right. Props.
Well, I see franchise mentioning Kevin Porter Jr. assists over 6.5 at plus 116 or so. I don't mind it. I'm trying to think if I'm actually I mean, the argument is that New Orleans defensively isn't exactly a great unit anyway. Alvarado's a pest defensively, but he's injured. So you're going to have to try to find other options at point guard to stop Kevin Porter Jr. His assists have been okay lately. He had 6, 13, 4, 7, and 13. It's plus money, so I don't necessarily mind it. I think I'm pivoting to Jalen Green points, just based on how he's played lately. The volume is going to be there every time he plays.
Yeah.
Jalen Green has not seen a shot that he doesn't like. And are you expecting him to just have a good bounce back game after he was pretty awful against the Lakers?
I mean, I can't. Jalen Green's in the Fred VanVleet category for me of Yeah, you're putting up a bunch of shots, but if you're going 30% in those shots,
That's fair.
I can't really feel
It's
comfortable
more
ever.
volume for me. I feel like with the amount of shots he's projected to take, maybe take threes if you're afraid of the overall points. But if
Mhm.
he goes 0 for 7 to start a game, he's still going to shoot the ball another 13
Yeah,
times.
yeah. So you feel
So,
good about that, but it's just the I don't know when like oh man, he really grinds my gears sometimes.
do you want to make a case for like a Valanciunas prop or something and
Oh yeah,
McCollum?
I can always get behind a Valanciunas rebound prop for sure, but I think that
Jabari Smith, maybe? He's been good
I
lately.
I think that I'm going to Kevin Porter had a really good game against the Lakers and where he was really efficient getting to the rim, like not even settling for a bunch of jump shots, but just getting to the rim. And that's somebody that always has some volume, but I feel just better with the percentage, the quality shots that he does get because he's more of a slasher getting to the getting inside the paint. So I'm on Kevin Porter Jr. over 17.5 today.
Okay, I see Jabari Smith, by the way, his point totals at 14.5. To read off the last couple of games, 18, 24, 20, 30, 15. He's played at least 36 minutes in each of the last 4 games. He's just getting a bunch of minutes. Houston's gone full youth movement. They finally embraced the fact that they should just let the young guys develop. And as a result, Smith's gotten a lot of run. Took him a while to look like a pretty competent rookie, but he's looked good lately. 14
Hmm.
and a half does seem a bit low for his recent form and the minutes. I got to like Jabari Smith over in points here. And if you do want to go for a potential double double on Jabari Smith, because he has had a double double in 3 of the last 4 games, you can get Jabari Smith double double at plus 235.
That is a better price. Although you gotta remember that a lot of those was with Shangun out of the lineup. And so Shangun playing in this one. Shangun had a pretty good game coming back in last game. 13, 9, and 6. 2 blocks and a steal.
Just saying, if you want to talk about a guy whose stock was pretty low and it's been flying under the radar with a little bit of a spike, it's kind of Jabari Smith. He's been good for the last couple weeks.
Yes, he's definitely gotten a lot better. All right. Next game on the slate, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves going to Chi-Town to go play the Chicago Bulls. This line has come up half a point from 2 to 2.5. Bulls are laying 2.5.
I
Total
hate both these
skyrocketing.
teams so much.
220.5 is where it opened. 225 is where it's at currently. And injury report for these two teams. And we have for the Chicago Bulls, Alex Caruso is questionable with an illness. Javante Green is doubtful. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Rudy Gobert is questionable. Nas Reed is questionable. Jalen Noel's out. Austin Rivers is questionable.
We hate both these teams, so I don't have a strong opinion. There's no way I will bet on the side in this game. I will mention the first meeting this year back in November. Minnesota won the game 150 to 126.
Hmm.
So I'm going to lean to an over based on that, but I don't like either of these teams. We know this, it's well documented. I don't think anybody likes any of these teams. I think the fans of these teams don't even like this year's iteration of these teams. Uh I don't know. I'm gonna lean over. As for a side, I'll let you guys figure it out. But there's no chance I'm gonna bet a side either way. When in doubt in a coin flip, take the points, I guess. But if
Nah,
you're
I'm
if
taking the home team.
I
Give me the
once
Bulls.
again, I'm not taking anybody.
And
So
I can't even use the above 500, below 500 mantra with the Bulls because guess what? The Minnesota Timberwolves are 35 and 35. Oh, just great.
mm,
So yeah, yeah, I'll just follow the line movement. Home team, short money line, home favorite. I'll take the Chicago Bulls minus 2.5. Mm, I really don't like the total either, to be honest.
I don't like anything with this game. But if you're asking what my favorite play is on a side or total, I guess it would be the total because I definitely don't want to put money in this game in general, besides maybe a prop or two. But I give
They're
it.
not gonna. They're not. Patrick Beverly's not gonna let the defense give up 150 points again.
I guess I'm gonna against this former team. I'm gonna lean.
Oh yeah, come
It's Beverly
on.
revenge game.
Oh yeah, come on. We got to take the Bulls, and I'm trying to figure out what. Like, there's no way. money just made this total skyrocket up 4.5 points. Like that's huge.
I think that's kind of why I'm leaning over. There's this much steam in a random game between the Timberwolves and the Bulls. I think I'm just going to back the steam there.
Yeah, I feel like I guess we do. All right.
You're on
Props.
Beverly props, I'm guessing.
Hmm?
I'm guessing you're on Beverly props.
I mean, what Beverly props can I take that I actually feel good about?
Rebounds, assists, maybe. You're not taking points. At least you could, in theory, take points, but then you got to watch Patrick Beverly shoot the ball, and I don't wish that upon anybody. So, looking at the props here, Beverly's at 6.5 points. Like, okay, 6.5. That's doable, so to speak. For rebounds for Beverly, you're looking at 4.5. It is juiced to the over, like minus 145. And for the assists, you can get 3.5 over at plus 135. Do you want to take points at 6.5?
Oddly enough, 1, 2, 3,
He had
4,
11 rebounds last
5,
game against the Kings.
6, 7, 8. Oh no, he has like 3 10 rebound games. So I'm 100% there on the
Yeah.
rebounds. I can
He's
do
had
that. He has
10
like
plus rebounds in 2 straight games.
yeah, and 3 in the last 6. So but what I was counting is that he has a block in 7 of the last 8 games.
What is his block price? Minus 105.
I mean, that's why, because he had like 7 of the last 8, and then I mean,
So
I
you could
can
argue that that should even be more juicy because of the fact that, or more, there should be more juice there because it's 7 of 8.
yeah, and then I mean, you can keep going. Like since being a yeah, so in the what is that 9 in the 9 games since being acquired by the Bulls, he has 8 blocks total, and blocks in 7 of them. The last game is where he had a 2 block game. I mean, why not? Like he's doing it, and he was doing it before. Like he gets blocks. Yeah, why not? There we go. That's how I do it. Give me Patrick Beverly over half a block.
If you wanted Beverly, by the way, if you want the 6 rebounds, it's plus 125. The 8 rebounds is plus 350. And 10 rebounds is 850. If you
Yeah.
wanted to just try to back him. But
Yeah,
I
because
think
guess
that,
what? Rudy Gobert's not rebounding basketball.
yeah. Well, he might not play. And you said Reed's questionable too. So,
Yeah. But they've been questionable. They've been questionable for like past 3 games, and they played
yeah.
every single one. So, well, I think Nas missed that first one, but he played the second one. But Rudy's been questionable for the past 2 games, and he's played every single one. So, I mean, I don't know. Patrick Beverly's just there, and he puts himself in opportunities to get rebounds. He just said he's the best offensive rebounding point guard in NBA history, which was very, very specific. But
Is that like a pound for pound list, or does
I
that
think the
include
only other
Magic?
name, I think the only other name that I saw people throw out there was Russell Westbrook.
I mean, Westbrook would have to be a pretty safe choice. Oscar, you can go with him. Magic.
I
Magic's
just
kind of cheating because he played center in an NBA Finals game. I don't know if that actually counts, but I think you're probably going with Westbrook or with Oscar if I had to go for best rebounding guard.
well, he said offensive rebounding to be even more specific than rebounding. He said offensive rebounding.
He's picked such a niche area that I don't think anybody has stats to confirm or deny what he's saying, but I'm assuming Beverly is not in the top 20.
It's like when Soldier Boy said he was the first guy to do everything. I am the best offensive rebounding guard of all time. I am the first offensive rebounding point guard of all time.
Unfortunately, I don't have Beverly's rebounding Raptor in front of me, so I can't talk about it. I don't have
All
the
right.
VORP on his rebounding, so I can't go through the stats.
Next game on the slate, we have the Memphis Grizzlies traveling to San Antonio to play San Antonio Spurs. Because this is San Antonio, the Memphis Grizzlies have decided that they are staying overnight in San Antonio for, no fear of anybody doing anything bad in San Antonio. Minus 8.5 for the Grizzlies on the road. 234.5 is the total injury report for the Memphis Grizzlies. And you have Jake LaRuvia, who is questionable with that back injury. Vince Williams Jr. is out. Jaws suspended. And that is it. Steven Adams still not back from injury. For the San Antonio Spurs, you have Devin Vassell, Zach Collins, Jeremy Sochan, all not on the injury report from injury management. Expect them all to play. Devontae Graham is out with a quad injury. Bates Dopp is questionable with an Achilles. Romeo Langford is out for injury management. And that is about it on that side of the ball. So, oh yeah, and Trey Jones is still out.
I see
If you
Trey
didn't know
Jones is
that,
back.
is he? Okay.
I see he's in the
Oh,
lineup.
no, he's coming off the bench. There we go. That's where I couldn't find him. He's coming off the bench. So he's back, but he's working off the bench. Malachi Branham is still getting the start. All right.
I think I like the Spurs here. They're pretty healthy. They're looking at the 3 meetings this season, even with Job playing. They've been close. They played in San Antonio the first meeting in November. Grizzlies won by 2 in overtime. They played in Memphis. San Antonio only lost by 8. And they played in Memphis again in a back-to-back there in Memphis. And San Antonio only lost by 6. Plus, the injury report you just mentioned. Sohan I really like. I think he's really good. And I think he's going to be a pretty steady contributor for a while. He's there. Keldon Johnson's there. Vassell's there.
Dennis Rodman's son.
Yeah, he's there. The one-hand free throw shooter. He's still there.
Hey, it's
Zach
crazy like how many of those 80s superstars you're seeing their illegitimate children come into the league and just ball out. Like Dennis Rodman has Sochan just out there hooping.
Are you saying that
Michael
because of
Jordan.
style or because of the hair color? Just to be clear.
No, I mean it's style too. Like he actually does play like similar to Dennis Rodman when he was playing in San Antonio. So it's just the hair color like help, but he's one of those guys that goes out there is fighting for rebounds. He's very aggressive. He gets after on defensive side of the ball. No, his style as well. Jimmy Butler is, going out there hooping as Michael Jordan's illegitimate son in the league. And, there's a lot of NBA players where you can tell, they stepped out a little bit on the road.
Yeah, but for this game in particular, with Sohan and Johnson and Vassell and Jones being back, the Spurs are actually showcasing a decent starting lineup for an 18-win team. Can I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Like the lineup doesn't look that bad on paper. And Memphis, once again, laying 8.5. This team is 13-22 straight up on the road. And the 3 games were competitive so far this season. I think I'm going to lean San Antonio money line or plus the points. I think it's a pretty good price. Spurs are at full strength. They're doing the opposite of tanking, where they make up injuries like Detroit's doing and they bench their entire team. I think I'm going to go San Antonio. This spread seems a bit high. I think they're actually quite live to win this game.
Well, you know for a fact that they're missing at least 30 points in this game because John Morant versus the San Antonio Spurs, 38-32, 52, 41, 30. So they're missing a good amount of points in this game because of the fact that John Morant is not going to be there to score that many points on the San Antonio Spurs, which is why I like the San Antonio Spurs to cover this number at the very least at 8.5. Got my guy Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson. Like I said, the roster is pretty solid.
It's really not that bad. If that was your starting 5 for an entire season, you wouldn't make the playoffs, but you might win 27 games or so.
Mm-hmm. And I'm always kicking myself with this every time I see the Spurs getting a big number and I don't bet it because I always forget that they are a tanking team. And we have to take that into account that they're a tanking team. And they very well could not show up in the fourth quarter
but
at all.
But they kind of pick their spots, though, because some teams tank with the pregame lineups. San Antonio's even done that on occasion. This is one of the better lineups they've had in like a month.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So where I was getting at with this is I'm taking San Antonio plus 4.5 in the first half, and I'm sprinkling on that plus 200 money line in the first half because I think that this lineup and how it looks and how Pop can coach this team up, there is more possibility than not for this price that I believe that San Antonio Spurs could be up at the first half. And then they go and they, drop the game. Memphis comes back, second half adjustments. Taylor Jenkins is still a good coach. So I like what he's doing with the players that he has and how he gets out of his players. And they very well could mount a comeback on the second half of this game. But I think that in the first part, Spurs could absolutely punch Memphis in the mouth. Absolutely could punch Memphis in the mouth. So I'll take San Antonio at home in the first half.
I can agree with that play too.
All right. Totals at 234.5.
I'm going to lean to the over. Even though Ja's not playing, you're looking at the points that they've had in these head-to-head meetings, a lot of points. First meeting landed 246, did go to overtime, but still. Second meeting landed 244, and the last game landed 264. San Antonio defensively has not exactly been good, but offensively they've actually been okay. They've scored at least 128 points in 3 of their last 4 games. Memphis just allowed 138 points to Miami, of all teams. Miami. Shout out to Nickelback, I guess, for the Butler torture technique, but I don't know if you heard that story or not. But I'm going to go
I
with the
did.
over here. You heard it, right?
Yeah, I did.
So, yeah, I'm going to lean over. You give up 138 points to the Heat. I'm not going to back you defensively.
That's not going to be my handicap. I'm just going to go with the Spurs because I think the Spurs putting out a really good lineup in this game, and Memphis is going to have to score to keep up.
They like the over anyway, but I'm saying if I think both offenses have pretty good matchups, because I'm not sold on either defense based on recent form, then one of these teams could score 130. I think it's reasonable. And each team might even get to 120. So I'm on the over.
Let's see here. I want to, for props.
We got the Jones brothers going against each other. So
I know. I'm trying to figure out how I can put together a Jones and Jones double parlay. Let me see here. I'm just switching books and trying to put that together. But anything else you like for prop wise in this one while I try to make the Jones parlay?
I feel like Triple J blocks, of course, is going to be an intriguing option. I'm trying to think if I want to make a case for somebody on San Antonio is going to have to rebound. I'm trying to think if I want to take Sohan to do anything in particular on the glass, but I really do like him as a player. Sohan, I think he's really good. Yeah, he had 11 rebounds last game. He had 29-11 against Orlando, 19-8 against Denver, at 14-6 against Houston, 22-13 against Indiana. What's his rebounding number at? Because somebody's gonna have to rebound on this team.
You said for Sochan?
Yeah.
Sochan 6.5, -120.
I'm going to go with the over. I think he seems to have embraced a bigger role rebounding wise, and he had 11 rebounds last game in 32 minutes. I think Sohan's going to have a big game tonight. I don't mind points. I don't mind rebounds, but I think that he's kind of that interesting tweener as a position guy that could give Memphis some problems because he's too big for somebody like Dylan Brooks to potentially guard, but he's also quite agile, and I think that he could exploit some of the big men that Memphis has. I think Sohan's got a good matchup.
All right. And for the Jones, I got Tyus and Trey Jones to both score 10 points and 10 assists at 25-1.
Okay.
Not as fun as I would have, not as high, especially with Trey Jones coming off the bench. Not as high as I would have liked it to be, but he's still going to get a lot of minutes.
If you only take Tyus double-double, it's around plus 265. Trey double-double's plus 900.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not mad at that. And let's see. Somebody said Triple J blocks at 2.5. Yeah, I can't get mad at you for taking that.
I don't think I really have much else.
Desmond Bane's been solid recently.
You want to go with 3?
I'm going back to old reliable, man. I can't look at him and his number be there at 16.5 and not want to ladder his points prop. Devin Vassell, man. I can get 20 for plus 170. I can get 25 for plus 550. Like, Devin Vassell can absolutely catch fire this game. Yeah, I'm on Devin Vassell.
I'm trying to think if there's any other props that I want to briefly mention. Pulling up Bane's 3-pointers lately. He got ejected last game, but, that didn't exact. So his stats might be a little bit skewed. The threes haven't been great for Bane lately. Like, I wanted to make a case for 2.5, but he hasn't exactly done much recently.
He got ejected towards the end of that game.
That's what I'm saying. He got ejected, and he only played 22 minutes.
You ain't had to mention that. That doesn't count.
But even the games before that, he has not really done that well from 3. So I think I'm going to skip that. I think we mentioned everything that we like.
All right, next game. Well, before we get to the next game, the slate, let me talk to you about the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and that is WynnBET. WynnBET is available in a bunch of states, including Massachusetts. Just online in Massachusetts, you have the WynnBET Win Hour each Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, where you get the marquee game of the week for the best odds out there, giving you a larger opportunity for a higher payout. And you also have March Madness, and you can bet it so many different ways. If you sign up today, receive a special offer, bet $100, get $100 limited to state availability, and the DJ's long shot parlay of the week, where if you get the parlay with the longest odds this week, you can get $1,000 free credit. So much choose from. All you have to do is head over to winbet.com or download the WinBet app. All subject change terms, conditions at winbet.com. Must be 20 or older in present state where play through WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Boston Celtics are traveling to Portland to go play the Portland Trail Blazers. Line opened up at 5, currently sitting at -4.5 for the Boston Celtics. 230 is the total. That's come up 2.5 points from open. Injury report for these two teams, and you have for the Boston Celtics, it looks like that Jason Tatum is, I've seen questionable, I've seen doubtful some places. So it is a very, very like watch and see if Jason Tatum is actually playing. And Peyton Pritchard, Robert Williams are not playing right now. They're on IR. If Jason Tatum doesn't go, probably see some more Grant Williams minutes in the starting lineup there. And for the Portland Trailblazers, you have a probable tag for Damian Lillard in a calf injury. Jerami Grant is questionable with the quad. And yeah, that's about it there for that injury report. Justice Winslow still on IR. All right. I got the 5. I didn't get the money line because of some horrendous officiating down the stretch in that Minnesota and Boston game, but I still did get the 5 points.
Shout out to Conley.
Shout out to Mike Conley. Are you backing Boston to finally have, because last game wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good game either. So do they finally have a good game against Portland where they just blew Portland out at home? And the final score of that one was 115-93.
I want nothing to do with Portland. Like I understand that Boston has been struggling a bit lately. They have won 3 of 4. The one loss, though, to Houston is ridiculous. But Portland, they've been getting killed recently. I mean, they lost to Boston by 22. They played a close game against Philly where they led by 20 and they choked away the entire game. Then they played New Orleans. They lost by 17. Then they played the Knicks with no Brunson and they lost by 16. I think I got to lean to Boston. I understand that this team is not playing that impressively when you watch them play. They have won 3 of 4, but I can't trust Portland. They've been losing to teams that are missing their best players all the time. They don't stop anybody defensively, and I don't want anything to do with them. So I think just based on Boston's overall talent edge, or at least I don't even know if I want to say coaching edge, but I'm really low on Chauncey Billups. I'm going to lean Boston. Do I feel great about it? No, but I think the spread should be a bit higher.
Yeah, instead of betting either Boston or Portland, I'd rather just take my chances with Dame scoring over 33.5 points, honestly.
I like Jaylen Brown over in points. I see it at 27.5. I don't think Tatum's going to play in this game. And we just saw Brown drop 40 a couple games ago. And Tatum, it wouldn't surprise me if he misses this game because
Jaylen Brown's had some really good games. They've been in losing or bad efforts, but he's had some really good games.
Well, I was going to say, though, I am going to pivot to Brown anyway because Tatum, I think he's going to miss this game because of how bad he's been lately, especially with his shooting. And his hip is apparently bothering him. But looking at the shooting splits here, last game against Portland, he went 11 for 17. Good. Played against Atlanta, 12 of 25. Last 2 games, 8 for 22 against Houston. Not great. And then he played Minnesota, went 4 for 16. I think that he might be battling something, so I think that they might hold him out. And Cordy's mentioning that the Celtics do play Utah tomorrow. So I think that they're going to keep Tatum out for this game, play him next game. Maybe they'll alternate or do a tag team thing with Jaylen Brown there. Well, he might sit tomorrow. I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown over. It's 27.5 points, but he's been really, really good lately. I think that's definitely a good deal.
Yeah, I would much rather just take whatever I would have put on this game and play it on those 2 players rather than touch the spread in this game with how very lackluster Boston has been recently and just how lackluster Portland has been for majority of the season. I really think Portland is at the point where they're tanking. By the way,
just to read off the points per game or last couple games for Jaylen Brown, 35, 43, 21, 24, and 11. So 2 games that weren't exactly great. 32, 29, 35. So he's had at least 29. He's had at least 29 points in 5 of the last 7 games. I'll take the over 27.5 with Tatum potentially not playing.
I would probably go bet that now if you're going to bet it because if he's out, you're gonna get some more juice on Jaylen Brown.
I think he's got a shot to go for 35-40 in this game. So,
Yep. Yep, Brown and just back Brown and Tatum. I mean not Tatum, but Brown and Lillard. I think that's a pretty solid bet. All right, total sitting at 230. I
last
could see the
meeting,
Celtics being so bad defensively that they just give up a bunch of points to Portland.
I was going to lean under too because they gave up 93 points last game. Now, yes, it was in Boston, and looking at the actual stats for that game, I don't believe Simons was back yet. I think I'm just trying to confirm if he was back or not. Lillard at 28, so he was fine. I was right. He did not. You ended up not having Simons. Grant did play. They even had Cam Reddish in the starting lineup. Oof. But yeah, I'm going to go with the under. I think Boston's defense is good enough to limit Portland. And if Tatum's out, I do think Boston's going to have some success offensively, maybe not as much as they're anticipating. I'll lean under. I think this game probably finishes somewhere in the 220s, if I had to guess.
No, I'm on the over. I
Really?
don't think. Yeah, I don't think Boston. I don't think Boston's deep. I mean, they've been okay. Like they've been solid, but they can give points. We've seen as in the Atlanta game that they can give up points to teams that are looking to score. And Lillard, Simons, I say they're tanking, but they're not actually tanking. Like they're actually still going to go out here and try to win this game, even though we'll see what happens. But I expect them to still come back here, especially after a really embarrassing home loss last go around, to put up some points. So I think it's an over game.
Okay.
All right. I think we hit any other props that you like for a move on.
I don't really see much. I see somebody mentioning Horford 3-pointers, which I guess is tempting, but you're always worried about volume. But he has been better at shooting the 3 lately. This is a horrible matchup for Nurkic, right?
I mean, are we getting a point in Nurkic's career where everything is a bad matchup for him?
I'm wondering because his points are at 11.5, and you're trying to find some way to fade him. But even looking at the last game against Boston, Nurkic did nothing. And yes, they got blown out, so some minutes were automatically going to be an issue. But Nurkic played 17 minutes. He was a negative 13 in 17 minutes. He had 5 points and 6 rebounds. Like, are we sure he can actually be on the floor? And with Horford being a 3-point shooter, I think I got to take the under with Nurkic because how is he supposed to stay on the floor in this game?
Okay, I could buy that.
Right? I mean, you're trying to think like Robert Williams would be the only reason why Nurkic would be on the court, and he's not playing. So you're going to be using, Horford, and you're going to throw some big men around who could actually shoot a little bit. Nurkic is going to get killed in pick and roll switches.
Yeah, but it's also I don't know. I'm not giving Chauncey 100% credit to make that adjustment yet, though. He hasn't had Nurkic all year. I don't even know if
Nurkic
he hasn't had Nurkic all year
at this point.
And so, all right, next game on the slate. This is enough of that. That was a really bad game. Next game on the slate, we have the Dallas Mavericks going to play the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers are laying 5.5. 227 is the total. Totals come up all the way from 222.5 to 227. Injury report for this game, and you have Kyrie Irving, who's questionable, but Luka is 100% out. And I mean, if this goes anyway, like the injury report has gone recently, Kyrie's probably going to be out as well. Tim Hardaway Jr. is questionable. Markieff Morris is questionable. JaVale McGee is questionable. And for the Lakers, Anthony Davis is probable. And you have no Bamba or LeBron in this one.
I feel like this game's trickier to pick than people think it's going to be.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Kyrie coming back and playing in this game would be, 1, King Petty, 2, the enough motivation that I would need to pick the Mavericks.
That's what I'm saying. I think Kyrie's actually got a decent chance to play in this game.
I think
this really does feel like the game he would come back in, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it does. And it's in LA. I think it's as easy as if Kyrie plays, I'm on the Mavericks, and if he doesn't, then I'm on the Lakers.
I'm going to agree with you there. That's kind of my exact thought. I think Hardaway's going to play too, so we'll keep an eye on it. As of right now, I can't really give a lean because I'm not sure who's going to play for Dallas. But Dallas has done well historically against the Lakers, and Reggie just mentioned it. Dallas has won 4 of the last 5. You might be able to toss that out though, because that involves Luka playing, and he's not playing in this game. But I'm gonna wait and see if Kyrie and Hardaway play, and we'll go from there. But 5.5, assuming you have Kyrie and Hardaway, I wouldn't mind taking points. But I gotta wait and see if they play or not.
I will say the Lakers have been very solid on defensive end since the trade deadline. Very,
They have
very
been.
solid. Moonoff is talking about AD over 13 and a half rebounds. I think that's a solid play. I think
AD
I'd
should walk into 30 and 15 in this
I
game.
would because AD just
That's my
so
point.
much
Yeah.
ducks. Yeah, he ducks.
That's why I said
so
should.
much that I would just rather take Jaren Vanderbilt and probably get Vanderbilt at what 9.5 maybe. Let me look.
I'd be lower than that because AD's back in the lineup. It might be like 7.5 for Vanderbilt.
8.5. 8.5 at plus
8.5,
money.
okay.
8.5 rebounds at plus 105. Come on,
Although I
that
said that
sounds like an
Davis,
auto.
I said Davis should walk into 30 and 15. Coincidentally, his last game against Dallas, he had exactly 30 points and 15 rebounds. So we'll see how he does. But he has such a good matchup against Dallas in this spot.
He does. He truly does. So AD props for sure. Vanderbilt, I like his rebounds over 8.5 at plus 105. So that means his double has to be pretty juicy as well. 370 for Jared Vanderbilt to have a double today. Really?
I don't mind
Just
that.
the Mavericks?
The issue is going to be scoring because he's really not very good offensively, but still.
But I trust D'Angelo Russell playmaking on a pick and roll.
I'm just saying, if you wanted like a counterpoint, that would be the main one, but I still like the play.
Yeah. Like I like Russell's over 6.5 assists today at minus 115.
Yeah.
Scott, you done what little people have done in the past few days, and you accurately predicted a Malik Beasley game. Do we get another Malik Beasley game? He's at 13.5.
Oh, do I? It really is a good matchup because Dallas defensively has been a mess.
But Beasley can easily walk in and be 1 for 8.
He can, but he has scored at least 16 points in each of the last 2 games. I think I got to assume so. You know, Beasley's attempted 12 3-pointers in each of the last 2 games. 12? I can't take an under if the volume's going to be that crazy. And you're assuming Dallas at some point is going to have to collapse the middle because AD is going to go nuts early on. I think I am on Beasley. I think he's had a good matchup for a collapsing defense. I don't think Dallas is going to let AD go for 40. So I think at some point you'll see some collapsing, some swing passes, and Beasley's going to shoot it. So yeah, I think I actually do like Beasley in this game.
All right. I would give you some Mavericks props, but we don't have anything because they don't even know who's playing. So we'll reattack that later on in the day. Total sitting at 227. I mean, if Kyrie plays, he forces them into an over.
Yeah, because Kyrie likes to play fast. I'm going to go with the over in general.
Yeah, he's pushing the tempo 100% and getting their defense a little off guard, getting mine the defense. Transition. Yeah, I'm on over 227.
Yeah, the last game they played landed 219. You only had 44 points in the first quarter, which completely just killed the game. The Lakers also went 6 for 34 from 3 in that game, and they improved the 3-point shooters. 6 for 34. I mean, I got to. Dallas attempted 49 3-pointers in that game. That's got to be a typo, right? 49 3-point attempts in this game.
I mean, when you have Kyrie, you have Luka, and you add what they're going to shoot from 3, and the fact that nobody else is going to get any other shot attempt other than probably a 3.
Yeah, and Kyrie did not play in that game, but in fact, Hardaway came off the bench in that game, but they attempted 49 3-pointers. Yeah, I got to go with the over. That just completely caught my eye. 49 attempts. And they lost the game? They made 23 pointers and they lost? Yeah, I'll lean to the over.
All right. Before we get into our lock and dog for today's NBA slate, I got to talk to you about Shady Rays. Look, Shady Rays, where Andrew Robb has been really, really like, I don't think how many times that we've had a sponsor come on where somebody was already a loyal participating member of that sponsorship. But Andrew Robb has shown me the light of Shady Rays, or the shade of Shady Rays, should I say. No, that was corny. Never mind. Show me the light. All right. To date, they have donated over 200 million meals to fight hunger with their proceeds. They have also have a lose or break your pair. Even on day one, you can get a brand new pair, no questions asked. Super great customer service coming from Shady Rays, where you can get snow goggles, you can get premium polarized shades, you can get so much more. And go to shadyrays.com, block out the haters with the promo code SGPN for 50% off. 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. Rated 5 stars, over 200,000 people. ShadyRays.com, promo code SGPN. All right. Lock and dog time. Let's see. For my lock, I'm going to. Let's go with the. Yeah, let's go with the Cavs. Cavs minus 5.5. Yeah, let's go with Cavs. Yeah, Cavs minus 5.5. That's going to be it because ultimately, I just think it's a little bit of overvalue over Washington, and I think it's really just because Bradley Beal's had a number of good games in a row. But other than that, really still good defensive team from the Cleveland Cavaliers. I expect them to do what they always do, clog up the painted area, make it tough for you from three, and really give you a short amount of options, which is probably the mid-range, and trying to be able to shoot over top of their guys. So Cleveland Cavaliers minus 5.5. They suffocate Washington defensively today. For my dog, I am going to. It's too early to call Dallas. It's actually some pretty good dog options today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me go to my Spurs play. I'm gonna take Spurs first half, two at plus 200. They get it done. Very, very fun lineup they have. Catches Memphis off guard, and it's in San Antonio. So yeah, I'll take San Antonio Spurs 2-1 to win the first half.
All right. So for me, my lock, I was torn if I wanted to go Spurs money line as my dog, but I think I'm just going to play it safe because you mentioned they might potentially punt the game for tanking purposes in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
I'm going to go San Antonio plus the points as my lock. I'm going to take them plus. I think 8.5 is the best line available.
Yep.
I'm gonna take that. Memphis awful on the road, gave up 138 points last game, and as we talked about before, San Antonio's starting lineup actually not bad. So I'm gonna go with the Spurs plus the 8.5. The 3 games were competitive as well with Ja in the lineup, and now he's not. So I'll take San Antonio plus the points. And for my dog, I mentioned a bunch of player props on the show, but I am going to go with Jaylen Brown to score 30 points at plus 125. I think Tatum's not going to play based on recent form and the fact that his hip's bugging him. And we know Portland never guards anybody. Jaylen Brown offensively has been really, really good lately. And I think that as a result, this number is a bit low. I think you'll see it probably spike if Tatum is out of the lineup. But to go through Brown's numbers once again over the last couple of weeks, Brown had 35 in his last game, 43 the game before that, 24 and 11, so 2 mediocre games, 32, 29, 35. So he's gone over this number in 6 of the last 8 games. I think it's a good, no, it's 5 of the last 7. I think it's a good deal. I'll take the 30 plus points for Brown at plus 125 as my dog.
All right, Scott. Anything else for the people before we get up out of here?
No, you can find me on Twitter, Rice Show Radio. Besides that, doing a couple tennis podcasts. Did one this morning. I'm going to do another one probably tonight. Besides that, I know we do have a potential announcement for this show regarding.
Yep, getting to that right now.
Yeah, regarding some episodes in the future, which I'm sure all of you will be excited about. But no, not really much more to add. Enjoy watching college basketball.
All right. And so, everybody, if you're not already, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Make sure you leave us a review and tell everybody in your review how when you ask for something, you receive it, because we are now going 7 days a week. We have added weekend shows to our schedule. Tomorrow, you will have the some combination of Scott, Moonoff, Delonte, or whatever. And then because I'll be on college basketball tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Great question. I got to go check on that. But Saturdays typically reserved to college basketball, college football for me. Whereas Sunday, I will be back on Sunday to do the Sunday show with Delonte. And that is our schedule. So we have added 7 days a week here, same time, same place. You know where to find us. And make sure you to follow us on Twitter at SGPNNBA. You'll get more information and you'll be able to see when we go live as well there. So, everybody, we gave it to you. You asked for more coverage. We gave it to you. So go right now. Go right now. Do it right now. Go do it right now and leave a review and tell the world how you ask and you shall receive. We are going 7 days a week here at the NBA Gambling Podcast. Other than that, I have nothing else. Nothing else say, nothing else do. I will see you Sunday. We are out of here.